5-minute countdown on the dollar Canadian. Big news coming out. So if you didn't care about the news so much, I don't think it's going to take too much. I put candles on here so you can see the bodies. Can't see the direction, but I got a line chart on top of a little bit of a candle, but I've kind of chopped off the candle with the trailing smooth Akanashi. 2 layers of that. But the cool thing about this system is that if you only take trades when you see a unique or a unique doji, there's only 3 entries here. So this is inside the there's versions of this inside the demo, and you can just layer these up. You just take and describe how big you want the bar, but if you only take top that become bottoms when it's this color, and of course here you get killed, right? Because you're going to buy this top becoming a bottom, and the trend's no longer your friend. And you could put on your low volatility breakout bots in here. Yeah, that's so you got 3 minutes to big news here. And the 5-minute traders already bid this thing down. So they trapped these guys, right? Or they didn't trap them, but I mean, if you sold up here, right, you're a genius. Without regard to the news. And they just, if your stop bot was running into the news, you're up in that trade. But if you had the sell limit pendings here, this is the last top bottom on the 5-minute of this trend system. But here the trend system is going to butcher you because you're going to sell here with the wrong amount of target. Okay, 2 minutes to the... Then look at the daily view. Look at the horizontal doji view here. You got a bottom back here, becomes a top. They blow through that. If you connect all the peaks and valleys, this is a doji to doji. This is a double doji window. Big controversial window. And when it blows through, they just crush all the way into the where your sell limits are. But you can see what the trend traders are thinking here. At least from this, if you call this downtrend, uptrend, I'd say you kind of have to do that just to take advantage of it. But you'd be selling right now if you had gotten on the train down here. In fact, if I'd bought here, I certainly would have dumped here just for the sheer sake of this is the bottom. I think probably just came up into the floor of these wicks. You have to take the wick window, and that's your ATR. Now if there's a way to build an ATR that is a wick only ATR, that'd be a cool ATR where you take the other stuff into account. Okay, 10 seconds to news. Now you go to 5-minute chart, you can't see the forest for the trees. You got to be looking here, and you're going to put a buy limit here on this double top. Put a buy limit right there, and that's been sitting there all day. And you got a sell limit at the last known bottom inside the top. That's your starting trade plan. Obviously, you have no. If you don't want to get on this, see, now that was the trap trade. If you traded that trap, you're out. Right? Now what do? Sell? Sellers are coming in. So this is, where people are freaking out. Now, the guy that's got the sell limit up here in Disneyland, you just start throwing him in here, right? You're like, oh yeah. Well, why wouldn't you sell up there? It was a good place to sell last time. Like I say, trading's really for dumb people. Put a buy limit on this top. This is not hard, but it's not fun. You have to place all these orders. Then you got to worry about if you're right or wrong. but not if you put a stop in there. Granted, if you did not pay attention to this account and you look at the weekly, you could have a serious problem here. And if you look at the monthly, yeah, the dollar's going to go up. But so is the euro. So you can't go jumping in these currencies and do this whole thingamabob. So definitely going to put a sell limit here. And the longer it takes for this thing to march upward, so you can see the targets for the channel traders now on the 4-hour. Whip out your trusty channel 2 and just throw it in there like just anywhere, doesn't matter. It's going up, right? The guidance, the top is the closing peak momentum is your top of the channel, obviously. Now you can draw as many channels as you have money in your account because you can trade we're in the channel envelope right now. So that's dual channel. Remember that dual channel memory they came out with the computers for? And obviously this has been a hell of a range trade. So the trendbot's loving it. Trendbot gets clobbered. Trendbot's loving it. See what this is such a short-lived trend that if you didn't get in on the half pulse, moves sideways, 1 pulse down. Just what people call a 50% measured move, although it's not always exact because from here to here, then you're like, oh, really? It's not quite, nothing's ever quite. She's never quite as dumb as she seems. But coming up into this window, you have to imagine the scenarios that could take place. Could we come back to here for a buy? Could we come back when the gravy train's done? How's it going to spill down? Certainly buying here, you were genius. If only if you kept buying, though. And then there's the floor. And this is a double confluence because not only is this a resistance point, but it's also the floor of a serious debate. Look at that trend bot getting its ass kicked. But yeah, it's marching up. Certainly the scalp's over. That was pretty quick and dirty money there, and that could have all been done with pendings. You don't even have to pull the trigger on that stuff. But I guess people want to kill it when it's running. They want to shoot a deer when it's running through the woods, apparently. Look at that, 5 minutes. You could take it off half of that and let the other half go. Now, do you let it go up into your cells that you placed on the daily? So at that point, you're torn between being a scalper and being a swing trader. If you're getting in at the market, you can see what a scalper would be thinking. Hell, I'd be getting the fuck out right here. So I got 4 minutes and wait till top of the hour, come back. Looks like my clock's off. My atomic clock says it's 1 minute ahead of this damn clock. But see, that was a trap. Now, if you hadn't taken off half your position by now, and you're trading super big and you've almost blown up the account at this point. So let's go to that's the 1 minute chart. Let's go to the 1 minute chart. So if you were to put a moving average on a 1 minute chart, how you'd have to trade that. This trend's over. Now you were loving that for every doji, every pause along the way. Now you got to be a buyer, right? Now you got to buy. But did you buy here, or do you place a limit on the top and side, the bottom down here? So we'll put a limit on the top and side, the bottom, just in case this turns out to be a range. So you don't know. Now I buy one at the market right now. So let's buy one at the market, just because we broke out, pulled back. Now just put a buy limit here. So anytime you feel like you're going to buy at the market, put the buy limit in and have your finger on the trigger here and wait and see, and wait another 5 minutes and see if you're right. 1 minute left, and In 1 minute, everybody's going to go to the 5-minute chart to see what the 5-minute traders are thinking, and they're thinking, yikes. If you sold right here, right now, and your stop is just a few pips above, and they trigger those because you're coming into this crush zone up here where you're just going to start taking out this stuff like a zipper. This is the last top, became a bottom on the 4-hour in the robot's view of a trend. Here's the ultimate entry, is the pause, a dash of blue in this whole sea. Although this is damn good, but this is like wave 4. So wave 4 is always the doji. The doji is either wave 2 or wave 4. It's either this or it's this. There's no other thing. I'm so sorry to tell you. You either have a guitar pick or you're playing with your fingers. Or you're playing with a drumstick. Or you're playing with a bow on a Telecaster. So sorry to tell you, there's no other stroke. So I didn't get filled on my buys because I was so cheap. Now the 1 minute, that was the buy right there. I had to place my order tighter into that zone. If you can imagine hand placing and buying, and it's green, it's good to go, right? It's uptrend. You got to buy. Doesn't mean this is not the tippy top, and they're gonna crush your dreams. But I still have the big sell bank up here. So now the swing trades are up here. Maybe you're long into that. Ultimately, you are long into something or short into something because you have half a brain to get on the 5-minute train, 15-minute train. This is the monster. This is the crushing pullback that blows everybody's brains out. And I never wonder why they have to break out a fib tool to see the double top here that became a bottom on the 30-minute. Do you really got to go to the fib tool? Now, imagine I'm long there. I should have been long. I missed the entry. SPY limits could be a retest zone now, but it's not showing up too good in here. So this is your volumes is your order entry price. That's your order entry. Don't take profits. And I'm going to sell up there. So this is what a swing trading trade plan looks like. You just sell like here. You put enough money in the account, or just put $50 in the account. Blow it up. Blow up an account, for God's sakes. What is with these people? You would drop $3,000 on $4,000 on a guy to give you bad signals all day long. I don't know if these guys at Empower Trading are holding back their good signals. I think they might be. I think they're fading. They're setting people up and taking the other side of their trade. What they accuse brokers of doing. That's what's going on. Okay, yeah, if you missed the long train on that, pretty tough. Barely trading this account now. I just don't want to blow it up, I suppose. Now here's the 1 hour view of the dollar yen. And I'm just running these trollers. Now this is trolling for dollars. This is like if you comment on somebody else's trading. This is a 1 hour comment. It's going to buy it's going to start at 30 pips deep with a 40 pip stop, and it's going to get out 10 pips below where it's at right now. So the exit's going to be, it's just a bouncy bounce trade. Same thing here. 30 pips deep in an hour. You're basically asking the market to drop 30 pips in an hour. But this was the shoulder you should have bought. But you would have bought this, obviously, because of this this top. You're up 20 pips. You're getting out at the 50. You got to get out here right now. Regardless of what's going on in Canada and their drama. Here's your exit. Here's your exit. Here's where you sell. You sell, sell, sell. So you had to buy this whole thing today, and you're just at break even right now on your worst entry. So I'm slightly up on this thing, I think. I'd be getting out if I was long, which I guess I am. So I just go flat here, knowing that I can get back in. Broker's offline. You just go back anytime you want. It's a store. If you're trading at the market, you should be able to walk into any marketplace on the planet and see where there's volume. See where there's people transacting money, cashing stuff out. So when they say, well, when you're losing, somebody's winning, that's always a bad feeling if you don't believe in stealing, which I had a big problem with because I'm not really into stealing stuff. So it's very torn by the original zero-sum game approach. But for all the people people that have a on the sidelines, so to speak, there's the people that don't like the banks, so to speak, because they think they charge too much for their fees, which they do. I mean, the problem is the only problem I have with bankers is that when you call them, they won't answer the fucking phone. They are so fucking cheap that they don't have a human pick up the phone. Now, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but pick up your fucking phone, or at least realize that, if you're calling I always wanted to just take a one-man business and hook them up with a huge menu for call the so-and-so department. And every time you get to that department, it's the same guy there, right? That's the torture. The next window, it's the same guy. At the government employee window, it's the same guy, and he acts like he doesn't know you. So if you're trading, if you are upset about that, I mean, I guess as a minority, a lot of people supposedly are greedy. Now they'd say, don't be a greedy trader. Well, what could be more greedy than stealing? I mean, it's one thing to want to pull the lever on the slot machine to make money. It's a whole other thing to plan a bank heist. Planning a bank heist is like trading. You literally are looking for all the entries and exits that everybody already sees and knows. That's already been laid out in plain English. That the task is setting the dominoes up to spell out the word, whatever the word is you're trying to spell out. And you guys set all those orders in there. So that's the hard part. That's the brutal part. So I didn't get on the long train. Let's see what the 5-minute traders are thinking. Because the 15-minute guys already took the ball. Oh, they're just having too much fun with these people. Now, anybody that did get out at the very tippy tops, second guessing their idea for the day, and maybe I will get filled on this pullback. And I think you can, if you hold down the Alt key, I think I set this up. Hold down the Alt key, I can move this order back. So inside the platform, I set the charts to let me. So you can always back these up. And if you back it up to here and you're looking to get in on the stop hunt for the people that are trying to ride the 15-minute train and their EA's got the stop down here conveniently to keep them from losing any money. And they miss out on the giant move. So this idea of having money management is a double-edged sword naturally. But it's also the revolving door of the market. If I was long from here right now, and this was like 2 standard lots, I'd obviously just get out and call it a day for myself. Or I wouldn't call it a day, I'd call it a minute. And maybe I'd get back in again. So we can totally go into a range mode here for a little bit. And if you consider this view of the market, which the people that do these big zoomed out charts are doing, they're like, well, look. I'm like, Yeah, look, here's a 15-minute chart zoomed out. Can you see any type of, and look at these vibrations here. Look at that. How do you trade that? Itty bitty, right? Baby steps. You see some trends in here? Look at this trend. Are you kidding me? Anybody seen this mind-blowing move? A 15-minute trap sideways and then complete meltdown. Talk about falling out of bed. But where does the floor? How much effort does it take to just buy support? And I saw another Equal Stokes. Yeah, he reminds me of Urkel. You know, he's like Forex Urkel. I mean, the guy literally would not say this is a double bottom because this wick is lower than here. You cannot split these hair. You cannot split the hairs that thin. Obviously, this zigzag motion on the 15 cannot last forever. And where do they take it back to? Right, where is it? Where's the wick? Where's your limit order got to be on the 15? That's the closing price of momentum. Your order's right in here. Okay? You got to dial them in. Double bottom. No retest. No fill. You're too cheap. Should have a buy limit on this top. This top. Forget this wick. That's your fill. Forget the wicks. Top becomes a bottom on the ledge. So when you see the 15-minute, the ledge looks like this. This was your only chance to board the train. This thing's like, rip your face off, take one breath, rip your face off, take a rest. This is Devil's Staircase. Devil's Staircase. Never look back. Maybe here. But if you just go on closing, the 1 hour chart, there's no look back. These Michiganers. There's no look back. Someone getting filled? Not quite. So here you have to wait to get filled. Now this looks risky already. Look at these people getting their face. Now if you sold the top of that, think about the guy that sold the new high of the day. I can't believe he's going to sell. It's going up. That's why when you go to chat room, people are in different time frames. One guy's on a 10-second chart. He's like, I'm buying. He's like, you're buying? I mean, has it ever occurred to people that when the market's moving 500 pips and you're in a chat room and you tell somebody you're buying and they're like, you don't know how to trade. And I'm like, well, but you don't know how big I'm buying and you don't know. It's just so funny, right? It's a funny conversation. So the total trap right now. Anybody that got all excited here. And same thing with the people that bought the pullback, the very shallow pullback, top bottom. This is why if you had a buy limit sitting here saying, well, I'm going to buy the last known top, which is right here in time, and you bought that right now, you're just going, wow, maybe I should have waited for this shoulder, maybe head shoulder, put a limit here. So you design the scenario ahead. You got a buy limit here, and maybe this is going to totally come smashing back, and you're going to be doomed. So at that point, you got to be thinking, do you have another? Did you just blow up the account? Do you have another thing you can trade? If you go to the daily chart, you're like, well, maybe that's maybe it's done. Look where it went to on here. It's on the I guess the stock market. Stock market, just like I said, topped out at the end of the year. But it's kind of scary now. Look at that stock market. If it can't hold this, if buyers don't come in here, wow. As soon as Trump steps in office and he comes back to here, people are going to say, see, he just wiped out everybody's. People are so funny. It's tough to live on a planet with flat earthers. Look at the Australia CAD, right? No brainer, right? CAD's going up. I mean the CAD's losing value against everything. But here's the tipping point, and here's the top bottom on the daily, and with a trend. You know, your trend bot's looking for a top becoming a bottom, so he gets one here and he gets one here. That is the trend trader's entry until the trend bot without a sizing rule comes into this situation. This is wave 4, obviously. There's only two kinds of pullbacks. There's the torture pullback, and there's like, oh, you missed it. So the torturous wave 4, and of course this would be a wave 4 on the weekly, because this is a torturous pullback. This is for the love of Pete move. Here is the trend bot says sell. You have a bottom become a top in time. Top bottoms. But here's your, you only get a little pullback. Now a stop system works here until you have to turn it off when it gets here. As soon as this dies out, you have to turn off that bot. Your bot isn't gonna be able to handle this stuff here. Wave 4 is a range bot because even though it's going down on a trend, it doesn't matter. It's ranging. And when I say range bot, I'm just saying you have to be the bot. You have to discover the wicks. You know, the more I look at it, it'd be like a horse head entry trade, right? horse head entry. But yeah, the swing high, swing low thing, that cracks me up when people do that. We went up, we went down. Yeah, but how would you like the ride? On the ride down, how did you like the equity swings? That's all I'm saying. How'd you like that equity swing? No, sir, didn't like it. So going back to the CAD. Oh, look at it. They came back to almost to my buy limit. Now I'm tortured. Do I buy at the market here? Okay, I'll buy one at the market. So if I had sold up there, I'm getting a decent price. I'm going to leave the buy limits in there and see if I can't blow up the account. Now, if I go to the 4-hour chart, I could start putting a buy limit here in case it has to come back into, say, this top. And now I just start putting these in. It's not going to matter, honestly. You just open an account and you put these many orders in and you just walk away. You put $100 in the account, you walk away. What's the worst that can happen? The market goes up and you sell high. It goes down, you buy low. That's the worst thing that can happen. The daily chart. Does that look like a good, it almost looks Fibonacci-esque. There's my trade plan. Walk away like these guys that trade without stops. Looks good to me. I'm not a seller till we get up near resistance. I'm not a buyer till we get down here. How much more harder could it be? Now, of course, this is the hard part. Don't touch any more buttons. Do not come in and do trading at the market stuff. Set it and really forgot it. So you're long at the market. You'll get long if it comes in here. If every order makes sense based on previous pivots, then what's the harm? Who's not going to sell up here if we go up here today? Who's not going to buy down here? Okay. That's how I made all my millions. I'm going to give you the secret to trading. Place orders in the market. There. One day trade class. Oh, but what if you blow up the account? Well, what if you do? You know? There's no harm in that. What if you break a string when you're playing in front of 10,000 people? If you're so focused on the outcome being so important to your life, then I guess, you know, once you realize you could take $100 and turn it to $300 in one day, or you could take $100 and blow it up, then it's just math from there on out. Gosh, how many orders did I put in? How did that even happen? Even if it accidentally happened to you. I guess that's why they say keep a journal, because if you, what this is presupposing now, they'll probably have this journaling, is most people lie to themselves. So are they lying in their journal? Dear diary, today I, and the best, and I love the affirmation stuff, right? And I'm sure that there's definitely a lot of resentment for the, oh, just tell yourself everything going to be okay. But it's not. I really believe in this trade because I ran a Gartley. Even not only do I use Gartleys, but I back tested them. How to set yourself up for failure in Forex trading. Go to the most popular, I mean, just crack you up all day, right? And I guess you'd have to call it, because they have, like, people talk about signaling. Everybody is signaling, hey, I like this, don't have good taste. Of course, nobody wants to be accused of liking something that is vulgar, right? Unless you're in certain circles where I guess you get a kick out of that stuff because you're finding, you know, or even gallows humor. So that's my perspective to trading, is not to say that it's some type of it's not this it's not what people think it is. This guy that wrote this comment, it's not what people think it is. It's so far from what you would think it would be that when it turns out, I guess this is right why people are attracted to the Gartley pattern, because it's so pretty on the chart that it's literally like watching, I think it's soft porn for charting. I'm just saying. I could be wrong, but it looks like that. So if you're into that stuff, right, it's almost like the Lifetime movie channel for trading. Good soundtrack, hot chicks. But I look at pretty. Oh, here we go. Dollar's going up. So look at that. Now I just set on this trade until we hit my sells. See if you wait long enough, right? You'll be right. Now, 5-minute chart, that was a pullback. See? Now, we just had to assume that was a shoulder. And, of course, the news is out, right? And the stock market has to open, too. So there'll be bottom of the hour drama coming. And you can only imagine. Now my sells look like they're too high, but it's fine. See, there's only so much money in the account. You have to take that view of the world. For all the great ideas, for all the patterns I've seen, and I thought, yeah, this is going to be beautiful. I never did the math on money in the account. So I never blew up an account because I didn't understand the market. I only blew up an account because I didn't have any math skills. So I'm taking the math skill excuse on this. Plus the impatience excuse, but I know where the market's going to come to. And if it gets there, I definitely want to get in. So if-then statements are totally, that's the only thing that kills every now and then. These people make sense. Yeah. The only thing you do know is if-then statements, but you have to go through the litany of probabilities. You cannot go into the, you cannot slice it so, you cannot pick one trade. You have to trade a series of trades. If you're a trader, you're not a trade, you have to just constantly be trading. You are anyways, whether you like it or not. I mean, I don't know if anybody shops around for stuff, but if you could get a jet plane, right, for half off, and it's, yeah, it needs a little work. Do you want to own your own plane? Because that's what the big boys do. All that nonsense. Right? Doesn't matter because, yeah, the guy that comment, like, it's coming back to me. I read this comment this guy, Dave, wrote, and I wanted to comment back in typing because he wrote such a lengthy, abstract, esoteric thing. And it does come down to this factor of, the idea that you're going to quit your job, like that trading isn't a job and that you can be your own boss. It's completely ridiculous. In my estimation, you are a slave to the market. You better get ready to, and I don't want to be vulgar, but you got to get ready to buy knee pads, right? And I don't mean, you got to go to the dojo. You got to go, you go have somebody beat you up. It's like Fight Club, but it's a monetary Fight Club. Right? They're claiming, oh, Fight Club's such a good movie. I'm like, well, not if you realize that your body's worth more than, like, trading's actually low risk. High risk is driving a race car because your body costs way more than a jet plane to rebuild. And so with all the bling culture, the pop culture is full of bling, right? So a guy's in a Lamborghini, he's like, we're Forex trading. Okay, right. Well, you've got enough money to have that car before you Forex traded. Obviously, you're not trading with $100 account and you're building it up to $2 million, which you could do. But that would take adjusting to the amount of money you're making. People have this conception that if you had $1 million, you'd be happier than if you had, well, of course, if you had nothing, if you're under a bridge, I got it, right? But you could always lean on the state. There's so much welfare out there. If you can't figure it out on an Android how to trade with $100, now, granted, you're not running all these elaborate scripts, but you'd have to have patience, right? You throw the orders in, you're waiting for them to fill, you're like, oh boy. Waiting. Now that's the problem. Waiting for the... so my buddy, the tequila guy, we were trading demo, and the Canadian dollar went down like 10,000. It went down like 2,000 pips or something, and so we were reminiscing like 5 years after it moved. And I said, have you seen the Canadian dollar? Because we used to trade that thing. Now, mind you, he was drinking and trading. You can't have more fun than that, right? And some of his trades were great because he literally did not care. And it was astounding how much money he was making on these demos. And we got the real money in there. To watch him trade was just, I'm telling you, if somebody was to run a back office for this guy and money manage his trades, if you had to take profits key to like get him out when you knew he was adding. Now there's no doubt people say, well, when you're in a good trade you should add, and he would do that. He would add, but I could see the other side of the coin, so to speak. So if I had to take all profits key and he didn't know, unbeknownst to him, because if I did get out, he'd probably punch me. So that was a problem, right? Now, if you had somebody like that you were having trade for you, you still manage your account, you can pull the trigger, but I'll get you out when I think that you're up enough on the account. Anyways, I waited for the stock market to open, and see, I'm up 22 cents, I could get out. Now, here's the big problem. Do you get out here with your 22 cents? Do you hold this? And we were reminiscing that trade would have been worth, if we would just risk the account, we would have made 10 grand. If we just never touched that trade. And you can look at any chart and imagine, if you got into the smallest position you could imagine and never touched that trade. It's incredible. So the perspective from a 5-minute chart to a 10-year position hold trade There's a whole world. There's millions of worlds between. Okay, so I'm back in this demo, and I'm getting on. I should have got in on buy stops on this. So here's the. I should have had I should have bought heavy here at the 10-yard line. I think I missed it. So now that one I would have had to. I would have missed the entry if I put it right on this top. So they're off to the races. But I'm in the Canadian, the dollar against CAD. But it doesn't mean that this isn't going to go up too now. People think that just because the dollar is going down right now. I mean that the dollar is going up, that the euro can't kill the dollar. So I am looking for the euro to go up. I am also looking for the dollar to, it moves in a different thing, because I don't know if they're closing. Definitely that market's closed. It's done for those people over there in Japan. Now it's time for the dollar to abuse the yen. So I'll sell if it goes up here, but I'm not really. I was trading on the catch a falling knife here on the hourly. So this was my trolling for dollars here. They're not filling me. They're not. See, the broker goes offline, so this really sucks. But that's what that looks like. See, now getting it terrible. It's too tight. So you have to buy 10 pips deep, 20 pips deep, 25 pips deep is right where everybody's getting. Now, to pre-program that on a hotkey keyboard, you have to know that when you hit that button, it's going to come in there. 30 pips deep. So I could put a cluster in here. And if I wait on these double clicks, these crashable, if I wait on those crashables, I know I can get, and if I had the 15, now if it goes up, I can run the trailing 20 now and get a different price, because as soon as this comes up, and the sellers should come in right now at that bottom, but I think they're going to blow it out. Like I said, and I think the long run, this is going to be quite the challenge. If we take out these wicks, forget about it, right? We're going to go marching north. So dollar. Sellers should come at this bottom on the half hour right now. So I would sell. I would get out of my winning euros right now, because you're up against this floor on this 30-minute. But here's the next place the sellers should come in. And I say should, but this is going to be the target for the guy that bought this double bottom. Anybody that bought that double bottom on the 30 has definitely taken profits by here. Stock market's going to open up here in a few minutes. Now these are very tight, and this could be super risky right now. So I could delete those, pluck those off. I still haven't put this in a new thing, so I don't want to close all. I'll pluck these off because I'm like, you know what? No, sorry. It's going to, if anything, it's going to come below the 100-yard line. So if I pluck off those and come back in with a 10 pip deep in 1 hour and stack up here, it's more likely that you'll get a slam into this zone here for the rape, right? This is where they crush people's dreams of it going up. Not that we can't go up, but look at these two crushes here on the crush window here. Great scalps, 20 pip winners. And if all you did was trade that today, you just killed it. This is painfully obvious stuff. This whole thing was tradable, that whole area. Now you're long from here, or you're going to get long. Now I put in the aggressive 10 pip trailing. Here I would say 20 pips in an hour. So either one of these could pull back. You just set a bunch of traps that last a certain amount of time, and you risk a certain amount of time per hour, so you're hiring somebody to work for you at X amount of dollars per hour. And what are you willing to risk on some of these people that are so terrible at doing stuff? You can only give them so many tasks. You can't give them a whole giant matrix of stuff to focus on. You can't give them 20 currency pairs. Give them one currency pair. One time frame. One target. Say you have a 20 pip. Be realistic. You've got a 50 pip risk. You've got a 25. And maybe you've got a 15. Unless you're going to trade super big, and then you're just going to get your ass kicked anyways, why not just put a 8 pip winner on your 15 stop and run 2 of those and risk $3, and you make 16. So you have worse than break even, and you could go from worse than break even, high probability, all the way to some ungodly Mondo Cane ratio. What's the problem with that? Bunch of work. Lay out all those scripts. Build all those trees. So what I think I'm going to do here is, because I want to just add to these trees now. So I'm going to try to subcategorize and put this into something called exit, or you could call it trade management. If all you have in front of you is the playing blocks that you're allowed to play with for the day. So if you're a child like me and you have a problem behaving, then you just put out only the blocks. You allow yourself to trade with that day, and only the time frames that you want to trade. Like if I want my orders to last for an hour and I'm done with that, like if that setup disappears, like these setups vaporize, like there's always a new, like who couldn't see this area here? Like if you can't find this on the chart, you're going to have to get into some kind of visual study course, right? If you cannot see this congestion, if you said to somebody, do you see the bottom of the zigzag area? They go, uh-huh. Okay, can you place an order for me here? I mean, I'll be busy tomorrow, right? I'll be out getting drunk. So could you just do me a favor? I won't be here, you know, I'm kind of lazy. Could you just put a buy limit there for me? Well, sure, gee willikers. And then, you know, you could say, hey, you know, put a stop. Just, do you know how many times you had to reload that gun? Because after they take out this first order bank, you got to do that same trade. Okay. There's the routine. People talk about routines. There's a routine for you. It's almost like a computer that's looping and crashing. Go figure, right? And look how you can block off the wicks and just see, oh, you know what? If I just took in this trade and took in this trade, and I took in this one and taken and took in, 10 pip window on that last night to make how many pips? Never looked back? Ridiculous, right? So it's so stupid, right? What's the next trade? Sell up here, obviously. Uncharted waters, you want them. Scalp to here. You can see your exit already. Man, it's just so painfully obvious. It's too obvious. You open the fridge door. Where's the ketchup? It's in front of you. That's why you can't see it. Fish don't see water. I don't know if that's a proper analogy, but that's another thing. I guess if you're in your own head, right? The water's your own head. Look at the weekly. Look at this. Look at this thing. Talk about a pullback entry. Look at that top. And it's a flat top. Bald Mountain. Man alive. Yeah, we may have a problem getting, and the people that were waiting for it to come back to this, they're screwed. So that, but that was the ultimate scalp, certainly, and everybody's going to be bailing here. And then you could go sideways and chew up your trend bot. Just looking for grist for the mill coming. Oh, I tried that. I met this trend trader. He made so much money in the yen, so I started following his signal service. By the way, anybody that thinks I have a signal service was just joking. My signal service is that if you look back at my videos, I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm just saying, yeah, that's the trade. Just like I'm saying this is the trade right now that you missed. If you didn't buy that, right? If you didn't buy that top bottom. Not that it always works, right? So you have to realize not everything always works. I like the disclaimers people have, though. Past history is not indicative. Well, it should be. My God, you're charging how much for your course? Oh, man, talk about greedy. And I always wonder how these guys sleep at night. Don't they feel any kind of like, man, they're buying this shit? Like, isn't there a part of anybody that watches somebody sell something on the internet and click and like me? And I'm like, oh boy. Man, and they think hookers are sluts. They think they're immoral. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's do a reality check. Let's do a, what do they call that? Of course, the biggest lies is the one you tell yourself, right? I mean, just the guy in the, I don't know. And I don't know, why don't they just give you one little trade secret right up front there and tell you that the reason why I have a garland on my screen is because you'll lose, and then you're going to sign up for my psychology trading course. Maybe it's a setup. It's a setup to buy the next, and I love how they have modules. Well, we have one for people that, do you have one for meth heads to scalp? Oh no, we everything's planned out here. In fact, we're using what everybody loves. Like everybody loves like a, they love it until it's too much, right? It's the ice cream diet. You eat ice cream every day, and after a while, you can't eat ice cream. And you stop eating altogether, so you lose weight. Everybody loves Fibonacci. You know how much money are they losing in that Fibonacci? Oh boy. So I'll wait till the bottom of the hour. Take a look at the stock market here. So it's in a downtrend according to my Akanashi bot. And the bottom that became a top was right here on the daily. So you had to sell that. Now you could have got in stops there for volatility breakout. Or you could have just had a sell limit there and say, you know what, double bottom's supposed to become a triple bottom so we can go up, but that doesn't happen. And here you really didn't have a chance to get in the, but this would be the first chink in the armor. And like I said, the end of the year obviously was a liquidation point for tax purposes. So question is this going to be the trap for the bears and now we're going to really go up? I think that's possible. But it is a little spooky if you look back. So you have to go down to the time frame you can afford. Let's say that's the only recommendation I can make in trading is trade the time frame you got enough money for, and certainly the one that you have enough patience for. The 4-hour world is totally, you've been making money as a bear on every top bottom you can find, every rally into the blue. This looks like a train wreck. That's why the range traders are making money and market makers are making, they're just having their way. But now look at the weekly. Is the gravy train over? Are we coming back down here? At least to this double staircase backfill. Oh yeah. So those are the buyers are going to come in there. Monthly, I don't have a whole data set. Look at that. Are you serious? Even the weekly. Wow. But see, here's the wave 4. wave 4, big wave 4. Maybe this is 5 now. And inside the 5, you need to have the smaller fractals, so you're always going to have the triple top failure. This, not that people aren't making money on these pullbacks. Look at this run. Talk about buying support. The weekly Dow Jones. And then here comes the elections. Wow. How did that Nobel laureate, how did that Krugman, that retard school, he's a prime example of schooling gone wrong, is Paul Krugman. No offense to anybody that thinks he's a genius, but how couldn't you see that? Double top becomes a bottom on the weekly Dow, and he's like, well, if Trump wins, the market's going to go. Well, yeah. But it did. It was such a micro move. Apparently he doesn't have the perspective that even if it did go down, who's not buying here? Or even anything below that. Just mind-blowing. These are the people that are, well, they went to school. They've got a degree. If I had $1 for every time I heard, well, but do you have a degree in that? Like, do you even know what you're talking about? Like, really, you need a degree in logic. You need a degree in common sense. Apparently, you do. You need a degree in common sense. Are they giving those out yet? It's a lifetime degree. It's not a 4-year degree. So I'm killing it up. I'm up like 62 cents here on my limits. I'm underwater on my market order. 4-hour chart. That's what the big boys trade. Yeah, but how do they trade it? I get that I get that everybody trades, but how do they trade it? Where's their entry? Saying the big boys are looking at the 4-hour chart is a floating part of a puzzle that's a million pieces. Okay, here we go. 30 seconds. I can make this max my clock out for drama here. This is the big boys use big clocks. Okay, I'm gonna let it. It's in God's hands now. The powers that be determine my profit loss statement. There's a daily view. Hopefully we get a spike into those limits. Get out before the account blows up. Cha-ching. Here comes all the people yelling at each other on the New York Stock Exchange floor. I don't know if they still do that. And here we go through the same boring scenario. The 5-minute chart. Half-hour charts have just updated. Let's take a look at the half-hour view. Oh boy. Looks like it's going to go down. It's all right. I'm determined to blow the account up. 15-minute traders say they've trapped the bulls up there. They're happy. 5-minute traders say it's downtrend. Oh well. There's always next week. So without stops, I would just let it go. Let it blow you up. What if this is not the? What if this is nothing more than a it's going to come down to here? Put a buy limit in. At this point, I'm loading the wagon. Now this is what I call the anger trade. Now, there's nothing wrong with this style of trading. People think I'm kidding. Does this look like a good trade to you on this time frame? Look how many tops and bottoms are in here. So this is the punishment of you're in an uptrend on the 1 hour. What's your time frame? You know the big boys are trading on the 1 hour chart. Look at the pullback here. You got the green light. You got top bottom with a green light. That's a fantastic trade. Here's wave 4. You can blow your brains out. Look at all the little top bottoms here. Come on. 1 hour chart. It's gold mine. Wave 4. Hey, maybe it's wave 5. Who cares? Making money. Maybe it's an extension wave. I love that, Elliot. It's an extension wave. You got hair extensions, do you? We've seen your type. Okay. The Rastafarian traders are coming in now. They're on the 5 minutes charts. 5 minute stock market. No, it's 5 minutes. I keep forgetting I got 2 charts there. Look at the 5 minute Dow Jones people. Are they freaking out yet? Oh, they're all excited. It's going up. See? So it can all go up. There has no rules. And the 1 hour Dow Jones people are bullish. They have been bullish all morning. Not to say their dreams won't be dashed here. Oof. Wow. Look at the rally on that pup. Dollar's going up. Euro's going up. Up, up, up. Everybody up. All the bears are unraveling their positions into the election, into the confirmation of having a good old common sense person, not an academic fucknut running the country for once in our lives, not an academia loser, not a guy that has a degree but he cannot find his way out of a paper bag. I'm just saying, if I had to endure any more nanny state, I think I'd just put on diapers and go with it. What you know, how to gag a maggot. 8 years of socialism. How to kill the goose that lays the golden egg. We're here to help you. Hi, we're from the Exchange Commission. We're here to protect you from risk. You know what? Get the fuck out of here. But that's what that's the mentality, the do-gooder mentality that the empowered trading people come to the table with. Oh, don't do that. That's risky. Oh, yeah. If you're a struggling trader and you think that you can just come in these markets, a buy limit, it's support, how dare you? I don't know. I just get so pissed off. So yeah, thank God for market makers. Thank God for pullbacks. Thank God for rallies. Okay, here's my 20 EMA that was featured in my 20 EMA system. How to think like a 20 EMA bot. I like the colors though. It's the same thing, but mine's got this has the problem here is you have a hard line, and I think somebody asked me what's that worm doing on the screen. Okay, look at the CAD is going to get punished. Look at this vertical. I guess it's vertical. I can't do the vertical view, but it looks good on the 1 hour. It's in an uptrend. See, I told you my trend system works. Told you. But hey, you know what? Too tight to stop. Bye-bye. You're gone. I'm going to leave my sell limits up there. You should have been long on the breakout here, obviously. That would have been the switch turning. Okay, 5 minute traders. What are they thinking? Uh-oh. So if you had been buying into this every 5 minutes, you could have built a position. You could have scaled in. You could have bought what you thought was the shoulder. Now look how this has already destroyed the pattern. This is why Akil Stokes will never make as much money as he could possibly make. Because he's got some Gartley shit in his head. And he goes, oh, this is the head, this is the shoulder. Oh, violated, we're out of the trade. We stopped out. We're stopped out, we're violated out of that trade. So that's why he's coaching, because there's no way he's going to be able to keep up with the fact that here's a shoulder, head, shoulder, head, shoulder, head. You can't keep up. He's putting up a Gartley there to show you. Look at trading sexy. Sexy. I've been tricked by that. I guess my buddy, my tequila buddy, calls makeup for girls when they put on their eyeliner and their lipstick. He calls it war paint. He tells me that the blood, their lips are red because it's the blood. This guy, I don't know. He's almost a flat earther. You gotta be careful with people like that. Really, it's the kind of people warn you about, but you're like, but I know some of these people. My parents are that way. They're out of their mind. Stuff anybody does. Everybody's special habit. You're just like, okay, you're kidding. Okay, this is the part where you're joking. Oh, these are the jokes? Like, who's not worried about what people... Yeah. So you just need somebody that's a hard worker, somebody who can do inventory so they can place orders, somebody that can not ask why you're doing that. Why are we doing this trade? Shut up and place the orders. You just have to, but you know, if anybody has any curiosity, like, well, oh, it's money, and as soon as you mention money and trading, they already got a preconceived notion right there. You already destroyed the whole objectivity of trading for anybody's brain, because you've called it, and you categorized it, and now it's like you cannot see. I went to one of these trading courses. I went to quite a few. There was a symposium out in 3-day thing where people show up and spend like $500. Pretty good price. Actually, if you ever were going to go to one of these things, you just can meet these people in the flesh. And once you find out that they're just as flawed as anybody you'd ever meet, that trading is really, if you're a good analyst but you're afraid of losing money, then you, like, I could analyze these markets so easily from the first time I saw them. But the problem is I never had enough money, and I didn't understand math. I literally did not. I just approached it from a pattern basis. And for seeing, oh, I see immediately what's going on here. Also, had to realize that I like to stand in front of a train and get out of the way at the last minute and make a living doing that. So that's what I like, to be ridiculous. So I had to put ridiculous into my trading plan. But I understand if you got MACD crossover and it's working for you, that's fine. I'm just saying there's how the other half lives. Sure, you can get a nice Uber car, and I would say my Uber car, I've already envisioned my Uber business. My Uber car is off the charts, high-end audio. You get in my car, you don't want to get out. The meter's running. I got any drug you want. I've got hookers on speed dial. Okay, I don't even know why this is not the business plan for these Uber drivers. Why aren't these people? I got this buddy down the street from me that doesn't want to get a gig. I'm thinking, you're in a car audio? Let's bling up. Is that even legal? Maybe it's not. Maybe the Uber code says you can't do this. But that's what I'm trying to do as far as trading goes. I'm saying, yeah, well, it's okay to have 20 girlfriends on the side and be married to 3 women, because you are a swing trader. You are multiple personality disorder. You have to, the skill in trading is the mental skill of wearing the hat of the guy that's trading against you and seeing what he's seeing, but realizing that you can see him doing lines and lines of cocaine in a movie, realizing that at some point he's going to go parabolic and he'll reach his limit. Now, I prefer to have a woman that is tied to the old damsel in distress is my favorite. You're going to rescue a woman off the tracks, right? But she's got to be hot, right? Got to be light enough to carry away from the danger. But that is the ultimate, of course, the knight in shining armor taken to like the what was that classic film back then? And you know, the old silent movies. That was the high drama visual, and I guess this is what I'm looking at based on origin. What you're keying to your reference of what you know, and of course, if you're talking to somebody that does a certain thing for a living, if you want to coach them in trading, you have to just put it in terms that they're used to dealing with, so they don't think twice about the trade. If you're thinking about the trade, then you're in big trouble. Because you don't think a lot, when people buy these high-end cars and the mileage sucks. I'm always thinking, but didn't you look at the mileage on that before you bought it? Like, you bought this big house and you didn't think that the taxes were going to go up or that the payments were going to be big, and so that's the kernel of life that is carried into your trading. So if you're, but the bad kernel of life that's carried into your trading is this I'm going to do the right thing mentality. No, you're not. You're going to do the wrong thing, and you're going to make money from it. You're going to do something that feels uncomfortable, let's say, and you're going to make money from it. Because you have to stretch. You cannot trade. Well, maybe you can. I don't know. I guess I'm not that guy, so I can't speak to the person that's able to. And there is a person like that, then you would say, well, couldn't you just donate that to a robot? Because if you're never going to change your stop, and you're never going to change your size, you're never going to change your moving average, for God's sakes, you should be able to build a robot that does that. But I think you still have to see the, what do they call it, like the gestalt, the whole thing, right? The inkblot test. Life's an inkblot test, so the Rorschach test is based on trying to read somebody's thoughts, and you can do that with a chart with somebody because you can just see, oh, well, obviously they're buying right now. If you watch somebody trade, you could pretty much decipher, or even how they talk about trading. Like, a lot of people assume that you have to decide where to get in. You can't let the market decide that. You're going to design that. So, and are you going to, based on the current behavior, you're going to change your mind and go the other way and get in at the market and kind of and if you're not afraid of that trade, then you can obviously see you need to get out of the way or something. I'm presupposing that. But if you're just looking at static prices, and you have a static risk plan for dollar risk, it's not going to matter. Because once they blow those orders out or they blow up that account, then it's just back to the drawing board. But at $4,000 for a course, why can't people just take $50 and blow it up? Take $50 and blow it up every month? At some point, you're going to discover, and maybe you're not. Like I said, a long time ago, I said, people are trading for different reasons. Some people are trading for the entertainment value. And I watched the guy give a webinar, and he says, if you're here just because you like gambling, then you're not in the right place. And I thought, what a dick. How does he know that maybe I'm a millionaire and I like to just putz around in these markets, and maybe all the retail losing traders are just people that they don't need to trade for a living. They don't fucking care if they blow up the account. Yeah, 95% of traders lose because they don't own that business. They're not business owners. And 95% of people that own businesses lose because they don't know how to run a business. And this signal service thing, those are the people that have a day job, and they're like, well, I'm just going to sign. And who hasn't done that? Who hasn't said, well, you know what, I'm just going to let the experts I'll let the experts build my car. But you can see how they just recalled, I think it's like monster recall. Maybe they're just tightening up the specs or something. Okay, we're counting down to the new president of the United States. Thank you very much. But it was the biggest recall I ever heard in the news. Right? Maybe they're just tightening up the specs too much. Now, this is another thing. I hate to go on, but has anybody heard of the situation of the phrase, you see you're on a bridge, and people would naturally assume that if you're getting closer to the bridge, that the if the river is getting closer to you, that the water is rising in the river and it's coming closer to the bridge, but maybe your bridge is sinking. But it's like man bites dog, right? So if 95% of people are losing, or 90%, just do the opposite of what they're doing. The most obvious thing, right? So yeah. Or at least take a broader view of what people are excited about in the latest. Well, even pop culture has trends, right? There's certain phrases that if you say them, people, it's keyed to a decade now. Have a nice day was the smiley face that had I think it had that phrase under the smiley face, have a nice day, and people were keyed to that. And then it became immediately for me just a joke. Like, I would say it in a really sarcastic manner. As soon as something becomes a trend for me, I guess I'm scalping everything. I see it as like, you know what, it's already ridiculous. It's already overused, it's already cliche, now let's make fun of the cliche. And then people build on top of that. And if people don't give you the derivation of something, you don't even know what the joke is now. So, same thing in the markets, the fractal. You don't know what to. If you don't know how tight your stop is down, it's a big deal, because if you want to protect a $2,000 account, you probably want to put stops in that. But of course, if you're starting off with, this guy had a $79 a month signal service, so I asked him in his video, I said, couldn't you see the trap on that New Zealand dollar? Well, no, he couldn't see it because he had fib tools out and all this garbage. And he's charging $79 a month. I love that. It's not $80. $70 a month for his... wow. Nobody's ever going to want to wear somebody else's clothes. I mean, who could drive somebody else's? Why are there so many different kinds of cars out there? Because everybody's different. So I'm just kind of rattle people's cages. I understand there's people that don't know. They know how to trade a trend channel. There's counter trend trades on trend channels, but these channels are very short-lived. When that staircase is gone, if you imagine those are staircases in a house where there's 20-degree angle staircases, then there's 45-degree angle staircases, then there's flat staircases that go nowhere. And there's floors that are like different heights and stuff. You're in a house of chaos. And there's a way to walk up a stairway in that house without killing yourself. And some of those things, you need to have big feet to, like the steps are so far apart, like Devil's Staircase. So to navigate that house and come out alive, that's the trick. That's the trick. And some of these doorways that open on the daily are just easy scalps. You're done for the day. Walk away. People talk about that London breakout shit. God, if I hear that one more time, well, we're going to buy the breakout because we're going to go trend continuation entry on stops. Has anybody thought about the other side of that trade as the limit entry? Anybody thought about the reversal point making more money than a trend trade? Because it does, right? For the stop to the spike. I mean, to tell me a spike isn't like making piles of money very quickly? Oh, but you just can't do that. If that's easy, everybody do it. No, people that do it, do it. So it's just ridiculous to talk like that. So I think this dollar CAD's destined for, and of course, hey, dollar, strong dollar, going up into these bottoms. So let that go. That's the trade. We're gonna exit here. Obviously, that's the exit door. Not saying it can't keep blowing through, and if it does, I want to sell at the first top bottom up here. Painfully obvious. And that's the problem. It's too obvious. If that could be a problem, it's the problem. And I mean, can you imagine? And if you missed also, if you didn't get in, it's probably right now. Is it too late to get in? Well, for me it is. I picked my spot, and I could actually cash out of everything I'm in right now and just walk away, because we're on resistance now. 15-minute chart. 30 minutes still. But if you're a trend trader, this is where the patience comes in. You got to hold through this whole thing, even this sideways crap, and lock up your margin in that. Anyways, that's my view of the big news is coming out. Jeez, wow. That was pretty quiet. Although this was exciting here, I must say. And certainly if you're just opening an account and you got in too big during that, you might have just destroyed your whole trading career right there. This was enough to make you think, well, the market's rigged. Look at that. It's crazy. The Forex traders are stealing my money. Anyways. Yeah, it's all about just placing orders, sadly.